Hello, well-educated Heart Academy family. My name's Trent Merrill. I'm going to be the instructor for the World War II Heroes and Literature from Page to Place course in the fall 2024 semester, and then part two in the spring of 2025 semester. I wanted to create just a quick video to give a course overview to help you understand a little bit more about what my class is all about. So as you're navigating our wonderful list of classes that the Academy is offering, you can maybe use this to help decide whether it's the right course for you or your student or not. Just to give you a little bit of information about myself, I'm Trent Merrill. I have an educational background in public health, computer engineering, and a couple of law degrees. I'm a patent lawyer by trade, but I'm kind of a history nerd by choice, or maybe it's not choice. Maybe it's just something that I found I love and I didn't get to choose it, but I love it. And I'm either way. I'm really excited to share, to learn, and to just experience this course and what history has to offer. My wife and I have been homeschooling our 5 children for over 12 years now. We just moved to Portugal. We're loving the sunshine. We're loving the new experiences. We're really excited to continue having new experiences and using Portugal, hopefully, as sort of our base camp as we explore other portions of Europe, which I'll get into a little bit in just a second. Anyway, you're watching this video to learn more about the World War II Heroes and Literature class. So I'd like to invite you to join me as we embark on this transformative journey through the pages of history, and as we explore the courageous acts and indomitable spirit of these World War II heroes through the literature that we're going to read, and then perhaps on location during the summer of 2025. I've curated a selection of powerful texts that we'll read through. We'll discuss. These texts, or the book list, includes Hitler Youth, Growing Up Under Hitler's Shadow by Susan Campbell Bartoletti. Sorry, Susan, if you're watching. Probably not. But in this book, it's a really great introduction, and it'll allow us to study the origins of the Nazi Party and gain really a better understanding of how Hitler came into power, how he obtained such a strong influence over people and use that influence to get them to do, his evil things. Then we'll move on to a book called The Zookeeper's Wife about Antonina and Jan Zabinski. They had a really large zoo in Warsaw, Poland, and they used that to help saboteurs, to help the resistance, to help house Jewish people that were escaping the ghetto in Warsaw. Really a fascinating story, and not only is it an inspiring story, but gives us a little bit more insight onto the German way of thinking and how they got to the point where some of these evil acts, were in their minds okay to do, I think. And so that book will give us some additional insight. The next book is The Boy Who Dared by, again, Susan Campbell Bartoletti. Got it right this time. Good job. And that book focuses on Helmut Hübner. The book is historical fiction, and this is really the only book that I'll include in this course that is historical fiction. It's based on a really powerful true story. The dialogue and some of the events that are occurring aren't factually, they have not factually been proven. So the author does take a little bit of a leap, and it is historical fiction, but a real powerful story if you're familiar with it. After we talk about Helmut Hübner, we'll then move on to some Danish teenagers in a book called The Boys Who Challenged Hitler, Knud Petersen and the Churchill Club. These boys were really awesome youth. So in Denmark, when the Nazis and Germany invaded Denmark, they made an agreement with the Danish government that they weren't going to bomb, they weren't going to fight, there was going to be nothing. They were just going to go in and take over Denmark. And this did not sit well with Knud Petersen, who was, I think, 14 at the time. And he and some of his friends started a group. Well, it started a few different groups. The one that the book is mostly about is called the Churchill Club. Really a fascinating story that inspired the nation. They were the first actors, the first resistance that happened in Denmark. The boys were caught, they were put into prison, and then when they came out of prison years later, there was now an organized resistance in Denmark that they had inspired. It's really a fascinating story. I think we can pull a lot from it, and fun too that the youth that were involved in this, and also with Helmut Hubner, they're youth that we can relate to because they're the same age as of a lot of the students in the class. It will be a good one. Next, we'll move on to a book called The Saboteur, an aristocrat who became France's most daring anti-Nazi commando, Robert de la Rochefoucauld. I need to learn French in order to teach this class more effectively. Robert is a fascinating young man who escapes France, goes over to England, is trained by the British to do saboteur things, and a whole bunch. He just has such an interesting life, and it's so fascinating to get into all of the things he had to go through in order to help the French resistance in his country. And then we'll conclude, or maybe we'll include this book in the middle of the semester, but The Hiding Place. I don't think Corrie ten Boom's story needs very much of an introduction, but it is a powerful book that I don't think I could leave out of a course like this. As you've noticed, part one of the course is going to focus mostly on historical and heroic actions that were taken by people who were not in the military, but were helpers or saboteurs or part of the resistance, or who were helping Jewish people escape some of the atrocities that they were up against. And in Corrie ten Boom's case, the atrocities that she experienced herself, and how she was able to find courage and strength going through those different things. As we complete this literary exploration, students will engage not only in the course discussions that we have each week in our class, not only through reading the books, but I'll also be providing YouTube clips, podcasts, interviews, just different forms of media that will allow the students to engage with these topics as we read through a book like The Hiding Place, for example. If a character pops into Corrie ten Boom's life and that character also has an inspiring story, but we don't hear much about it in the book, I'll try and take some of those characters and provide more context to who they were and what they did, just to add a little bit more color to an already colorful story. I think this unique combination of literature and learning is going to be fascinating. For students who take the course, my family and I are going to try to spend some weeks in France, and I would like to offer at the end of this class, and more details will follow, but a week where students could join me in Paris. We'd visit some places in Paris. We'd head over to the beaches of Normandy, and then we would travel up to Battle of the Bulge that took place in Belgium, and then we would head on to the Netherlands and see Corrie ten Boom's home. So it would be about a week in Western Europe, focusing on the places that we're going to visit through literature during parts one, or semester one and semester two of World War II Heroes in Literature class. This will be an awesome experience. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the class. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. One question that's often asked as we start introducing some of our new courses is what is the age group that this course is directed to, or what age is appropriate for the class? I think that's something that I would like to leave up to the parents to decide. I mean, this course is going to be talking about World War II. In part, the first semester of the class will be talking about saboteurs, people who are part of the resistance, people whose homes were getting bombed or visited by the Nazi or Gestapo, or people who are in concentration camps, or people who are going through torture. For example, as we read in the book The Saboteur, Robert goes through a series of torturous events where they're trying to get information from him, and it describes some of the tactics that Nazis were using at the time. Things like that I will flag, and I will reach out to parents and explain what chapters those gruesome details are in. I mean, it doesn't go into extreme detail, but it is something that maybe we don't always need to understand the story, and so I would leave that up to the parents. But I will flag things like that so that you know what's coming up. You can either help the student decide to skip those pages or to go through them and to just be there to talk to them about it, help them work through any thoughts or things that they're having. But I think as far as what is the course appropriate for, I have a 17-year-old son and a 14-year-old son that will be taking the class. I feel like I will make it appropriate for those two based on their personalities and the conversations we already have, and things that we talk about already. But I'd leave that up to you. So yes, please reach out to me if you have any additional questions. I'm really excited to teach another class with the Well-Educated Heart Academy. I've had a really great experience teaching innovations. If you're interested in that course, I'll be teaching again. But I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you soon.